Welcome back, everybody. It's time for our very final matchup of the group stages, at least on this stream, because Space Station versus Fury is going to be happening on the A stream. But if you're tuning in here, it's probably because you're a fan of W7M or of BDS.
I was going to say, where's the or, but you got it.
Maybe you're a fan of both.
Oh.
Who knows? I don't know. Are you a fan of either team?
I'm a fan of both teams, I would say. I think they're both top teams in their respective regions. W7M, they're the new kids. BDS is a team who's done so well for so long, but they've never, ever won. I mean, they won the Saudi event, but like I want to say like a real major event internationally, but like top-tier competition. They've never done it. But everyone has been saying for the last 2 years that they should have at least won one of those.
They made a roster change.
Yeah.
They're looking good. They finally make it back to an event. They've been absent for a while. W7M undefeated coming into this matchup, 5-0. We saw another undefeated team from the same country of Brazil and Team Liquid fall short against TSM. And W7M have an opportunity to go 6-0 on the day. Here's what the group looks like for you, by the way. Our last playoff spot is up for grabs. Fury is done. They cannot make it. That leaves it a shootout between Team BDS and SSG. Space Station need to win. That is imperative for them.
Yes.
BDS also have to win. Here it is. There is a chaos scenario. If SSG win 7-5 and BDS lose 3-7, then it is a tiebreaker match. If SSG wins better than that, then they just move on. But it's relatively even for both of these teams to make it to the playoffs based on this statistic. Obviously, BDS has a smaller edge to it, but still a good shot for SSG. If you're a fan of the North American squad, then you are hoping and praying that they topple Fury. With the way that they played earlier today against W7M,
I was gonna say,
every match might be a challenge. They're going to need to bounce back after their matchup today that unfortunately didn't go the way that they wanted. Rampy, Fultz, and Bosco having miserable performances in that one. As for BDS, they need to beat W7M. Beat W7M, and you're in. That's it.
And it was close last time. In fact, BDS had the closest match against W7M. They went 5-7 against them, which is a loss, but it's the closest anyone's gotten. So, it's something.
Well, this is going to be a tough one. Where are we going to go? That's the real question. We need to get to the map veto in just a moment or two, as actually all of the players look to be ready to compete. We know it's been a long day. We know that you've been watching a lot of Rainbow Six Siege. I promise you, we don't want to keep you waiting any longer than we need to. Clubhouse is where we are going to go.
So it's going to be a test of strategy and execution here. A little bit of mental gymnastics before bedtime, as, of course, both of these teams have been going at it early on. You wake up early. Some teams might want to hit the gym, get early breakfast, etc. Wake up. Then you got to prepare for the first game, play that first game, prepare for the second game, have a bit of relaxing time, and then the second game begins shortly after. So, yeah, Clubhouse, all about the fundamentals. It really tests people's both droning capabilities and execution, open up the walls in the right order, at the right time, in the right way. And both teams, they play Clubhouse. BDS, they're known to mess up reaching the wall, but then still somehow find a way through those rounds. It's going to be BDS starting on defense and W7M starting on the attacking side for this one.
Ooh, boy. I am very excited to get underway. W7M, hands in. They are not playing for anything, and I don't want to discourage you from watching this, but we want to be honest with you about what these teams have at stake. BDS can 7-0 W7M, and it's not going to change the results at all. W7M will come out on top of this group no matter what happens. They are not playing for bragging rights. They are not playing for a better result. They have an opportunity to kick back, take it easy, maybe save some strats, maybe play a map or two, or play on a map that they don't want to play on. Maybe they just want to have an easy time. Or maybe they want to be the only team to go 6-0.
Yeah.
It's entirely possible.
Send a message.
They can do that. But they don't need to. That's the point.
No, they don't. And there is value in considering that rest is important, right? I mean, Gio from Sonics earlier made a tweet saying, oh, because they're locked in, he might actually sit out a match because he wants to save his energy because he wasn't feeling too well. He did end up playing regardless, and he also won that following match. But there is value in it, both here in esports and also seen in traditional sports as well, where you can sit out a great player, rest his arm a little bit, and then come swinging out stronger tomorrow. Now, tomorrow is an off day for every single team and also for us talent as well, because we're traveling to the main event, the playoffs. Bit of a shuttle ride, a couple hours drive, and the players too. So no one's going to be working too hard tomorrow, but then Friday is when everybody gives 110% until they get sent home.
I just want to take 1 second here. Just break from this matchup and talk about the match that just concluded.
Okay.
TSM came out on top, and because of that, Heroic now goes home. After yesterday's matchup, Uno tweeted that, and I quote, hardest opponent on the server was actually Capkin Traps. Good game, TSM. Obviously a bit of BM saying that TSM did not perform up to snuff.
Yeah.
Gasher, quote, retweets it. Just now that TSM have won and knocked Heroic out of a shot in the playoffs, Gasher retweeted it and said, have a safe flight home.
Snake did the same thing I saw as well.
Did he?
Yeah, I believe Snake did too.
Excellent stuff. I love that beat. I absolutely love to see that kind of stuff.
It's good because Uno's comment was such like an underhanded one. It wasn't like, oh, these guys suck. It's like, no, the hardest enemy was the Capkin Traps, which can be understood as he died a lot to Capkin Traps, or that TSM wasn't really shooting back. Either way, I like that kind of banter on my social media platform.
I greatly appreciate it.
Operator bans are underway. The first operator to fall is going to be Hibana, a stable ban here on Clubhouse. It massively affects the basement bombs because of those hatches. Nuke. No surprise there. Everyone pretty much brings her and plays her if she's available. You get a second set of grenades, can sneak around the map. And I will argue that every single team can easily fit her in your lineup. Asami, another one of those really common operator bans. Same story as Nuke, arguably the strongest defending the entire game right now at the tier 1 siege level. And then we got the good old information game being shut down. Valkyrie. She had a brief moment a few months back where she was actually getting played rather commonly again, but at this event in particular, banned left, right, and center. So your final lock-ins are going to be Hibana, Nuke, Asami, Valkyrie off the board. BDS rather are going to go on the defense and W7M on the attack, and we're going to be going to church basement bomb site first with both a Mira and a Bandit on the board, kind of signaling a more passive approach for BDS in this opening round.
By the way, if you're watching this, we are going to be updating you on the SSG Fury match as this match goes along. I apologize in advance if you do not want spoilers, but we are in a current live situation. We are going to be following both of them. We will try to tell you when something is coming up so that you can cover your ears for a second. Okay. But at the end of the day, we have other matches going on that impact this match as well. As far as I'm aware, BDS will not know what is going on in the SSG match, just as SSG won't know. Team BDS are the team that is in the driver's seat. If BDS is able to get a single point, that's it, they move on.
Yeah, that's accurate. Now, a Lamge in the mirror. It's going to be Leaky Fact, actually, on the Bandit. Surprise, surprise. Normally when I enable this match, you just roam around the map and take gunfights, but W7M is a very lethal team. Taking gunfights that are unnecessary is not a wise choice. We saw that when they played against SSG earlier. SSG could not get comfortable in those gunfights at any moment, and they played on Oregon. Very explosive map. Now on Clubhouse, you can kind of limit the enemy's aggression a bit more, because it does come down to how you utilize your utility, not just the gun skill itself. Just slow start here for W7M on the attack inside. League Effect slowing down the Jacuzzi Breach by putting down those Bandit batteries. That's going to trick the wall. Nicely done.
Well done by Leaky Fact. That's actually my first time saying his name. Well, in a cast.
Yeah, it would be, actually.
I've never casted him before.
It's also new.
Like Lickitung, but with a fac at the end.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Yeah.
I don't make these rules. I feel like that name, though, it's just you're constantly living in fear.
You are living in
You're living in fear of a single vowel being moved around, and you are doomed.
You're done.
I've never actually sworn on broadcast before, which is something that the entirety of the EUL talent cannot say.
No,
the
they
same
cannot.
about. They actually joke that they swear at least once a show.
It's been allowed.
Amateurs. W7M right now playing for bragging rights again. And Renshiro has been downed. Please ignore the player cameras. They are wrong. That is Shaiko, not Volps. And that is not Renshiro either. So
They're flipped.
they are indeed.
Now, Renshi got wall bang injured, so W7 does not know this, but that doesn't matter because Renshiro will still only be on 20 HP, and that is only if he gets revived, which he does not. So the opening kill goes the attack inside. Numbers advantage always in favor, of course. Kurt's gonna pop the hatch, but a C4 from Brede shuts it down. No, actually, the Heartbreach goes out, but he died for it.
JV finishes off Licky Fack. I can't get it out of my head. It'll take some time.
He's just planting. On the other bomb side.
At the halfway point, KZ far enough away, a second pick for JV, and W7M will be able to get out of there with the diffuser down. Volps dies to Alems. Alems yet another as he engages. A 2v2, time continuing to run down against this BDS squad. Alems on such low HP, a bullet or two will be enough to take Mira out of action. There's JV for kill number 3, a fourth is there, and there's the quad kill. W7M take round number 1.
JV with a nice start. It looked to be a kitchen hatch execute, but while all 3 members of BDS was holding that angle, they just walked into that soft on church and started playing down the mini bar. They knew it was clear because of good drone work, good information game, and then BDS, you know, that's like, they're not dropping. What's happening? Oh, plant is down. This is not looking good. And it's going to force a bomb site change from basement all the way up to the top floor of gym bedroom instead. And honestly, with Hibana being banned, normally we do see defenders go to basement first because that's where Hibana has the most impact. And it was BDS themselves who banned this particular operator, so that all makes sense. But they chose to go for this very passive kind of approach. I mean, sure, Leaky Fag was roaming early on, and Lemsh was too, but they fell back rather quickly, and then W7M, they could just make work of the verticality, open up the walls accordingly, and then go for that bomb site execute. I think Jim's gonna bode better for BDS. They have more tools to work with. They can roam more across the map, extend to CCTV like you see here right now from a Lemsh, barbed wire on that red staircase for information gain. Barricade the door, why not? Give them garage, but don't give them more than that. W7M bringing out that very stable operator lineup. Clubhouse is one of the few maps where you're a little bit more limited on what operators you can and cannot bring, because it's a checklist, right? You always need at least 1 Heartbreacher. On some bomb sites, you need 2 of them. If Thatcher's open, it's almost silly if you don't bring it, because it helps everything. Wall deny, ADSs, utility, etc. You always need at least 1 set of grenades and verticality. That's Sledge. So you have very little wiggle room and options, but in this case, with this lineup, Hurts on Iana and Casey and Sophia would be the 2 operators that you could change if you wanted to. This could be a rush. Hatch drop plus reach.
Well, they're waiting for it. They're waiting for it. Hurts fishing for a kill, trying for something. Can't find it. Comes back empty-handed. The nade goes in. Can it secure and follow up? No. It takes out some of the floor. Renshiro watches another blow up in front of him. He's the intended target for all of this aggression. W7M cannot capitalize on it.
Looked like they were going to pull the trigger there, but they don't. Almost got a kill with the grenade, but it's not enough. Breed inside a bathroom is safe. Has ADSs and a mirror window to watch over this jacuzzi breach. Hurts can open up the top of that reinforcement. It won't matter unless you can ADS or EMP clear it, and that's why Thatcher is so strong. Time it correctly, you might get a free kill here.
There it goes. Oh, Shaiko engaging into KZ. Down he goes. JV runs in. Unable to do much at all. Shaiko trading off that HP for the first pick. Very worthwhile for BDS.
So really good coordination with that EMP and grenade, but Brede, he read into it, saw that blue color on the ground, ran away and got away with his life as well. W7M, they might have gotten the breach and the mirror window, but they have no real way in through that breach. Brede has sacrificed bathroom. BD is they don't know if it's clear or not. They have to assume that it might not be. W7M, if they drone this out, they could make a play.
At Thatcher, JV still standing at the window. 4 kills in the previous round. Shaiko, who got the 1 pick inside of construction. Scouting mission goes in from the Gemini of Herds. JV engaging. His first death as Shaiko jumps out of the window in construction. BDS's superstars, 2 kills at the moment. More to be had. Down goes Renshiro. Julio, the first pick for W7M. Still an advantage for BDS. Nades go in. Shaiko doing some work. Won't get the ace as Bride picks up a kill for BDS as well. But Herds is the last one left. Which player of BDS will be able to find him? Oh, it's Shaiko. A 4K from JV in round 1 and a 4K from Shaiko in round number 2. Both these teams now 1 round apiece.
That could just be how this plays out. His key members showing up when they need it the most. I was gonna say a tactical timeout? No, never mind. We change. Oh, I think we're going for a quick rehost here, which is actually the first, like, quote-unquote rehost that we've encountered on the final day in the final game, unless it goes to a tiebreaker, of course, which is rare, but it can happen. Yeah, first actual rehost. That's actually impressive. BDS, of course, winning that round. It's gonna feel nice for them. Getting back into the round score against W7M early on, I think is very important because the playstyle of W7M is very aggressive, and it feels like they're boxing you in both mentally and physically. What happened against SSG is that, well, Fultz, he dropped 0 and 9, if I recall correctly. He never really got into the server. Once you go 0-4, 0-5, it kind of starts to play with your mental, your confidence. You start being like, how do I get into this gunfight, and how do I actually come out ahead or on top? And for some players, it matters more than others, but the point is, if you can't thrive in the server, in the game, and you get into your own head instead, that's a massive negative outcome for you and your team. Also why we always say those like vibey teammates, those yes boys saying, come on, we got this, 1 more round, let's push on, you got this, don't worry about it, keep going. It matters. As silly as it might sound, it matters so much. I have a personal experience with this. We played against Team Fund on Border, and the only kill I got in like a almost overtime game was somebody, like, I think Goga injured somebody, and I took the kill, and I finished the match with that 1 kill. We won the map, whatever. And Fabian and the rest of my team kept saying, don't worry, Pingu, next round you'll get it, next round. And the map finished, and they were like, don't worry, next map you'll get it, next map you'll get it. And when Oregon started, they were like, what operator do you want to play? And I was like, I want to play Ashe. Get me in there. Let me just like shoot people or whatever. And that was actually, that was the map where I got at the time, the world record for most kills in the map. After dropping 1 kill in like a, 5-4 or 5-3 or whatever score time it was back then, to go into the world record kill of 21, 22 kills afterwards. So your teammates believing in you and you like regaining that confidence, it really can make a big difference. When a player like Shaiko in the opening round doesn't really get much done, but in the second round he jumps out the same window twice, gets 2 kills, and ends that round with a 4K, he is forcing himself into this server and believing in his skills as a player and swinging with confidence. That's how you get those 4Ks. That's how you get back into the game and shut the enemy down.
I appreciate you providing us with that anecdote.
I figured it was a nice time with that rehost as well.
There's the Maverick Elite, by the way, that was shown, what was it, well, alongside the Yana Elite as well.
Yana Elite got really good feedback on social media.
Near Automata?
Yep. That is correct.
You ever play that game?
No. I've wanted to.
Yeah, I've never done it either.
But
I'm almost certain somebody's going to hear that and they're going to just tweet at me, oh, you should play it. Okay, I'll get around to it.
We should probably play it.
Yeah, I'll get around to it at some point. Either way.
Well, I always like seeing like collaborations as well in general with skins and whatnot.
You know what I like to see?
What?
I like to see the increase of bar stage being played on this map. And I like to see a lot less cache CCTV. And boy, oh boy, it warms my heart to see that on the 3rd defense. BDS will be going onto that main floor bomb site.
It seems like most teams have figured out that CCTV is a pretty bad idea unless you're under like quote-unquote perfect circumstances, or if nothing else really is working out. And it's ironic because Bar used to be the worst bomb site on this map, essentially. Well, actually, that's a lie. They were worst bomb sites, but it was a second choice bomb site, but it sucked. But these small reworks that Clubhouse have received the last 4 years, been 2 reworks, or 5 years or so, they've made a massive difference. The first one was major. It kind of changed that to what it is today. They made a second mini rework that only really affected the Bar bomb site. And with time, players have accepted it. They've welcomed it, and it's now being played consistently across all 4 regions.
Clubhouse is the most played map so far through the group stages. This will be the 9th time that it has shown up. And it is a perfect 50-50 in terms of rounds won by the attackers and the defenders. Very quick action as those pocket EMPs go off, and the jacuzzi wall will be opened up on both sides. Lems falls back, and he's able to get some bandit batteries down. Volp's first pick onto Leaky Fack.
In the basement. That's far off the bomb site, but a kill is a kill. Leaky Fack on the Oryx, so not the most valuable operator to lose. You are fast, you can go up hatch, that's about it. BDS position, again, crucial. Lemj there for support. That's bathroom and gym. This is a bar defense, the first line of defense.
It's an impact from BDS to try and save the wall. It's accomplished its goal. That'll frustrate W7M as they're going to have to go back to the drawing board. Those castle barricades, the utility expended upstairs that you spoke about, is slowing down the advance of the Brazilian team. They'll have to go elsewhere. They'll find that there's no real contest inside of Strip Club. Problem is that once you go through Strip, you need to worry about the defenders that will be playing above it. First logic bomb goes off, and JV can break into kitchen as there's just under a minute left to go in the round.
As long as BDS has top floor control, they can hold this bombs and Lem's getting a kill onto hers as well. It's gonna bode well for BDS, and you almost have to go back upstairs now for Volps to try and find something here. Otherwise, you gotta just walk onto the bomb site itself. That's not gonna bode well for you.
Volps on the stairs, a few steps away from being able to get into the bomb site. He doesn't hold on to the diffuser. Julio does, who will now go above, trying to maybe get control of Jim. BDS answers back. 2 very fast kills on their side of things. And a third to add to that as Renshiro picks up more than 1 on the round. Volps the last one from W7M. Not a ton of time to go with diffuser miles away. Kills are the only way Volps will be able to make it out of this with a win. But BDS has Zen-like patience, and they won't engage in any duels, leaving Volps to twist in the wind until Lems decides, you know what, there's only 2 seconds left, I might as well try it. And try as he does. He accomplishes his goal. 2 rounds in a row from BDS, and now they take the lead.
The hero in that round really is BDS. Playing inside a bathroom upstairs, both impact grenades denied, a Selma charge each. That stopped them from breaching that wall to bathroom, so they kept top floor control. Lems was there for support in case he needed it, but he didn't. While BDS also got those 2 impact tricks, he also avoided 2 frag grenades while barely taking any damage with basically no support of any ADSs or my discs. It's well done for him. As I said, W7M, you kind of need to take top floor control on a bar attack unless you have a Glass, an Oser, a Monty, something to deny that line of sight from up above, or something to smoke off the vision at least for those vertical holes that's been made above you. If you don't do that, it's not gonna work. And that it did not. Volps was in the basement early on, did get that opening kill to Leaky Fact, but they can't convert that into much map control. That's really what Clubhouse is about, the execute and the map dynamics. Not so much just the kills themselves. The bomb sets are very strong if you don't pick them apart. Although if you can manage to break it, defenders are looking mighty fine once they get to that bomb site. We are starting to see some execution-based operators from W7M now. The Capital from Hertz being brought out. Secondary heart breach and that fire and smoke can have a high impact on the round if used correctly. BDS have changed their approach as well. No mirror on the board. Goyo instead to burn down that clock, no smoke. And a semi-aggressive roam. 2 people offside, 3 people on the side. Volps on this side almost as well. Could have just walked on in, but thinks better of it. BDS is now aware of the positioning, and he's going to hold that entry point in case Volps tries again.
Approach on this bomb site down on the bottom floor. W7M clearing out all except for that basement right now. Flush out the roamers. Have they spotted Leaky Fack playing above? I don't know if they're aware of this. He's got the hatch open JV is not too far off. The answer to that question, a resounding no. They did not know that he was up there on that top floor. So the drone and discovery work for W7M falling just short. Not uncommon to see teams roam on the top floor when defending the basement. I'm certain W7M thought that they had a good idea, that it was empty, and ultimately they were wrong. Leaky Fac is still up there.
BDS, they like to hold on, and Lemsch typically is the player that does this. Wolves, also from Europe and the EUL. It's Rise that plays that position. W7M, they can push to the bomb side perhaps, but they gotta worry about that flank possibility, and they're already down a member.
Oh my, Shaiko getting put to the test in blue. Teams trading out, but BDS coming out ahead, continuing to rack up kills. It's an answer back from Volp, so W7M still find themselves on the wrong side of this numbers advantage. For them, a disadvantage. Julio and Volps to work together in tandem, waiting for Julio to get down towards the bomb site. He'll go through the main double doors that you see that lead to the corridor. BDS playing far enough back. Allow them to take Church. Exothermic charge from Julio gets taken care of by Renshiro's impact grenade. Easy entry, not happening whatsoever.
That was the last exothermic charge. Nothing left in pocket. I'll walk in through this moto door, long hallway. That's all you got.
Renshiro has all the bullets, just continue to fire away. What can he accomplish? Goyo shield blows up, smokes go out. Julio taking a pummeling in the meantime. And he'll walk right through, but Bride with the shotgun makes so much magic. A 2-for available depending on what happens with Volps, but it's Renshiro to peek and get it finished. BDS 3 in a row.
I like how they use Shaiko there. It's just a shovel in towards W7 on the boost stairs. One member came down from garage, one came from boost stairs itself. Shaiko swings both of them, does a bunch of damage and gets shut down. But then Renshi and Lemsch are there to trade 2 for 1, basically using Shaiko's aggression as a tool to get more value out than he could just get from it for his own accord. And it's one of those areas where BDS they've really improved upon. In their earlier days, it would be Shaiko's solo show. He would go in as a hero, either come out victorious or he would fall. But nowadays, BDS, they play around every single member so well, where Shaiko can say, I want to go for a swing, and someone goes, I'm right there with you, and they get so much more success because of that. And with W7M being down 1-3 in scores, they're going to call their tactical timeout on this attacking start side of Club. And typically, as you said, I mean, it's a 50-50 in preference here for how it's played out over 9 games. But if you know how to pick apart these bomb sites, if you do the execution correctly, you don't falter along the way, you typically see the attackers have more success than not because of how many different attacking operators you can bring. Whether it's ranged breach and ace, or to burn through walls at Maverick, bring in 4 grenades or a Ying. And with the operator bans right now, I mean, the nuke doesn't change that much. Sure, you don't get one set of frag grenades and you can't sneak around the map, but you got Ying, Capital, shields available, Glass, Osa, Thatcher's open. There is really no reason to be struggling on your attack inside if you go through that ABC 1-2-3 motion, which, to be honest, with W7M, they haven't really been doing that throughout this match. They've been kind of lingering around, looking for that opening kill, and even when getting it, BDS, they still hold that bomb site, impact trick denying, breach after breach. And you can't walk in anywhere but a single doorway, you just can't win those rounds.
Well, if you didn't listen to the odds of making it to the playoffs, which will be the main focus of this matchup, BDS wins, they get even a single point, they make it to the playoffs. They deny Space Station a berth on Friday. 2 things need to happen. Number 1, BDS needs to lose by a certain amount, and SSG needs to win by a certain amount. But again, if BDS picks up a single point, that's all she wrote. Exactly the same as what happened in that TSM Liquid match right before us, where all TSM needed to do was secure 6 points, even if they lost in overtime. Doesn't matter. Still tricking on Jacuzzi Wall. Does it work in time?
Damn.
Sadly, no, it does not. The Jacuzzi Wall gets opened up.
They spend 2 EMPs, 2 Selma charges, 1 exothermic charge, and a Sophia stun just to get that wall and the bathroom wall opened up. That's a lot of utility. Arguably worth it, because this now secures one half of the map, and it's a way in, which W7M has needed every single round and failed to do so far. The server wall is closed, but there is still one exothermic charge in pocket, as well as one singular Selma charge. There it goes. Wall gets opened up. The last DMP as well to follow. This allows W7M to work upon those bombs at windows if they want to do so, or they can outright take control of CCTV and cache, which is clear, by the way. No BDS members are there. It's up to them now to choose how they approach this round.
The slowest round so far in terms of action, in terms of pacing. BDS on quite a tear. W7M not really looking like themselves so far. BDS have shown up to play, that's for sure.
I mean, their playoff dreams depend on it. They want this more than anything else, whereas W7M, I mean, they can go undefeated, but they can't win anything from this.
Not a great start. Shaiko removed from plays. It's coming back from the rehost after his 4K. Shaiko has not been able to find the scoreboard at all. JV finds a nitro cell and then a very quick and painless death afterwards, where I believe the course of action is to fly up into the air and split into multiple pieces, which is exactly what happens. Renshiro is also another loss for BDS, and now Litkifek is gone. BDS on the wrong side.
Oh.
Lambs decides to swing, but it's W7M's guns that hit all of their marks in the final moments of that round. And after the timeout, they managed to stitch together quite an impressive performance on that execute. And with it, W7M get their second round.
Now they gotta show if they can go 3-3 and tie things up in the first half, or if BDS takes the lead before they go onto their attacking side. BDS will go to Bar as their final destination. As we go to OT. Maestro, Mute, Alibi, Castle, and the Bandit again, signaling they will be extending upstairs, where it is going to be a Lemsh who can bandit trick those walls. In the previous round that we just saw in Gym, we almost wished for BDS side that they had a Bandit. They could have tricked that bathroom wall instead and kept that mirror window position alive, which could have changed things for them. But when you only bring a Kaid, that's where it gets problematic with the Thatcher. We did have a meta about 6 months ago, before the Nuke ban came around, before the Asami bans came around, where Kaid was often left open and the Thatcher was outright banned. And it meant that the defenders could just throw those Kai Claws in very tricky positions that were very hard, if not nearly impossible to get rid of with grenades, and the walls would just not get opened up. And it forced teams to get very creative in their approach on how to make their way through the map. And it's where we saw Ryzen operators like Monty and Ying to brute force your way through those areas. But now, teams will still on occasion bring out the Kaid, and it's more of like a check. Does the enemy have EMPs? Yes or no? If they do, the Kaid is very low in value. If they do not, however, this wall is never gonna get opened up. So it's a back and forth, kind of like Valkyrie IQ. If they bring the Valkyrie, you should bring the IQ. If you don't, one side gets a lot more value gain or value loss than the other.
We have an update for you on the other games. Close your ears for just a couple seconds while we run through it. The first half is in the books. SSG won that first half 4-2. Again, we remind you, SSG must win, and more importantly, BDS must lose. If BDS lose by the right score and SSG win by the right score, it will be SSG who make it to the playoffs. W7M, the best friends of Space Station right now, and if you are an SSG fan, you are the biggest cheerleaders of the W7M team, stemming from Brazil.
The trick, successful. No Sophia this time, you can't Sophia in the drone hole.
Oh my. That is doom and gloom. Shaiko the first kill for BDS as W7M had some struggles to get the jacuzzi wall open. I'm assuming that's a graphical glitch, by the way. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either. Because he's looking through it, or trying to, but yeah. Either way, massive value there for Lemsh. I mean, that's the bandit tricking versus kite tricking. And the difference, as I said, no Sophia to stun the drone hole. Nobody from W7M on the gym window that's likely going to be Casa barricaded, or maybe the door inside of gym itself. And that's the difference maker. By having the castle, again, the check mark. You need a Guardian window if you don't have a Sophia. They didn't do it, they get punished. Volps, Candelas from the hatch, might just drop.
Hey, the checkmark thing is my thing, Nick. Okay, back off. Shaiko down for the count. Renshiro to take an engagement with the UMP in hand. Easy to control that weapon as the drop comes in from W7M. Herds patrolling that stage bomb site, looking for anything. Can't find anybody. But JV does on the Bride up above. Leakyfac taking some damage. It's Renshiro down for the count. But Herds is suddenly the last one from BDS. 2v1. French squad looking to go up 4-2 in this first half. Ever closer to guaranteeing themselves a berth in the playoffs on Friday. Oh, there it is. 4-2 indeed the scoreline they get as Leakyfac closes the door on that particular round. Lots of doors being closed today. BDS up 4-2. The teams will swap sides.
It's a great look for BDS, but this is where things get a little bit more difficult. Not only is it now up to BDS to problem solve whatever W7M chooses to put in front of them, but also it's W7M's map control now. You know, defenders start with everything in their control, and the way W7M can play, especially on maps that allow for it, like Chalet, like Clubhouse, where you can kind of shape your defense very well with these pieces of utility, like the castle barricades. It's not gonna be easy. Way back, there was this SSG roam that got very famous across the scene. The Mute and the Mossy top floor inside a master bedroom and cache, and you don't know whether there's any roamers or not because you just can't drone it out. Well, W7M to do a similar approach, but instead of denying information with Mute and Mossy, they also just have a lot of guns, and they will find you every single place they can find you, and that makes things even more difficult. But they are bringing those key operators. A Kite to follow, again, to force out either a Maverick or EMPs from the attacking lineup. BDS, they've opted for Maverick this time around. So a triple hot breach scenario for them, as they also bring the box secondary hot breach. The thing for this means there's no smoke grenades on the board for BDS. Bride is forced into flashbangs for more ADS burn for utility, because you need to bring that in case there's a Jaeger available. There isn't, but there's one why. It means 4 grenades and 6 flashbangs here.
BDS getting their 4th round before the side swap means that there is no tiebreaker match to be had, so we will not need another game to be played. If BDS had lost 7-3 and if Space Station had won 7-5, then similar to what we saw at a CAG and Team 1 all the way back in Mexico about a year and a bit ago, we would have needed a 5th match in order to put this one away between these teams. Or, well, technically, it would have been their 3rd match between them. Julio taking some damage as he engages with Shaiko. Shaiko having a slow start. Ooh. And it's a secure from Julio, having done some damage. 2 Titans of their respective regions. The Yana of Shaiko will not be able to have much influence on the remaining minute and 40 seconds of the very first execute that BDS has.
So half your frag grenades gone as well, but Julio and Hertz are so low on HP, a single bullet would take them out, or at least down to the ground. It's a basement defense though. You can fall back, you don't have to fight for this area. Casey, still active on the roam, could be an issue for BDS, especially Brady outside the third tunnel, because the Minster's window is open, but they miss each other. They just walk past one another. Casey is more focused on the main stairs itself. He knows someone's nearby, but does not know exactly where he is. The timing again, Bride looks away and Casey gets out. 2 members in dirt. Changing up the attack here. A different approach, a different avenue, but Hertz, he's ready for it.
Inching in closer, but the proximity alarm will give him away. Herds reads into it, gets droned down and tries to take the engagement, but cannot do it. Nobody giving themselves to him. W7M starting to add things up. They lose Herds. That's the first player of the team to go down. They answer back. Volps and JV in on it, and there's KZ to shut down Renshiro. And a round goes for W7M.
That's what I'm talking about. Not only do you bring Mute and Mozzie on the roam game, but they stay their ground despite BDS trying to flush them out originally. Casey does not move from that top floor, and it becomes difficult for BDS to find any breathing room. You get flanked main stairs, the wrong or top floor, so BDS tries to go dirt instead with no real backup and no real support. Kitchenette's closed, doesn't work in their favor. But basement bomb side, arguably going to be the hardest one for BDS because of how much map control the defenders can use against them. Whereas with CCTV, it can be much more straightforward, right? You work this server breach in front of your very eyes, or Hertz is currently reinforcing, and then you either go garage on the bottom side of your screen, or you go construction side on the left-hand side of your screen. It's very straightforward. And it's very unfavorable positions for the defenders to play in, especially with W7M banning out the Asami themselves. Those keeper barriers can be the easiest tool for defenders to make either garage or master bedroom or the bomb site itself that much stronger. And you see in the operator lineup, there's not a single deployable shield besides the one top red, which doesn't give you anything unless you walk in the breach, which most teams don't even go for. An aggressive spawn peek attempt by Hertz. Doesn't seem like anyone spawned there though, so it's empty. Yeah, it's burning down the clock at this point.
Fighting shadows. BDS still with the lead, but you need a better performance from Shaiko in these closing moments. He had a bit of a slower match to start off with. It was the victory that they needed just to edge themselves ahead of Space Station. Discovery phase still ongoing. About to hit the one-way mark, or 1 minute mark.
Has been a slow start for both teams. I mean, no one wants to make a mistake, right? Bride droning every corner of office in case somebody's ratting around hiding there. Better be safe than sorry. You hate to make the call, oh, the coast is clear, and Lems goes in, and Lems is dead. Or in this case, Leaky Fac. Oh, he hit Shaiko with a skeleton key.
Just a tiny bit of damage done. Look at how close Shaiko is to this cache CCTV bomb site. He finds an opening and engages with KZ, who takes him down. W7M emerges from the first fray with a numbers advantage. They've only lost JV. Shaiko and Renshiro won't be able to accomplish much. Shaiko 1-5. He had 4 kills in round number 2, if people will recall. So the stats don't look as dire as 1-5, but ineffective over the last 6 rounds. That's not where you want to be.
BDS making a classic mistake of not checking their box again, because you want to get this breach open first, then start swinging that side door. Sure, Shaiko saw an opening, but risk versus reward. Maybe he gets a kill, but they can't do anything with that. However, if he dies, they're playing with 1 less member on the board. So now instead, the rest of the BDS members have to pick up the pieces, but it looks more unlikely now that they will win this round.
Lems from long range takes out KZ. He's still outside. Oh my goodness, far, far, far away from the action. Sitting near spawn. Herds decides to engage with the buck of Leaky Fac down below, but it's Leaky Fac to come out ahead. And now it's BDS with the advantage. Just trying to buy time. Volps on those Evil Eye cams, prone on catwalk. BDS don't seem to be putting anybody in that position, but maybe a Lems will contest, no? He drones it out. The smoke comes to his rescue. That means both players from W7M are in the garage. Lems walks right in and picks up 2 kills, stretching BDS's lead to 5 rounds. They are a single round away from that magical number of guaranteeing themselves a spot in the playoffs.
Also our classic BDS moment from EUL, where they mess up the breach in the 1-2-3 strat, but they just walk on in and they go, Shaiko go kill, or in this case, Elemish go kill, and they find those vital openings. Also, Volps and Julio, the last 2 defenders there, playing really far back and really passive, probably not having good enough information as to where the members of BDS are, because having 1 member top catwalk and 1 member bottom garage, you have no real side presence. You gotta retake either through a staircase or through the breach in the window in the bomb site itself. It's less ideal. Then imagine Julio just playing top of red. 1 guy holds the breach, 1 guy holds garage / construction walk in. All of a sudden, you can set up a crossfire. Play off one another. Instead, they're both isolated in garage at different floors. Didn't work out for them. Julio did have 1 toxic babe in pocket, but again, not in the right position to necessarily use it. He finds no value. BDS attacker repick, taking a look here. Thermite, Iana, Ash, Thatcher, Ace. So again, double hard breach. Thatcher, check. Soft breach, check. And that last operator is going to go to the secondary hard breach of Ace. Not necessary for a gym attack, but definitely welcomed at that, especially because Casey's on that mirror. You want ranged hard breach so that you can have another way to deal with those mirror windows than running in and punching them, or going below and bar and shooting that canister from below.
Could be moments away from finding our last team to make it in. I'd like to remind everybody that the groups show, the seeding show, will transpire only after these matchups are done. I assume it'll be on both streams, but
Yeah, I imagine so.
we made an agreement. Whichever match finishes first, that's the casting duo that ends up doing the group's draw. And I have a spoiler for you. It's 6-2 SSG. About to put Fury out to pasture. SSG winning is one step of the way. BDS not hitting 6 points is the other. Saw a bit of a mismanagement there, by the way, from that Selma of Alems. I think he intended for it to go onto the bathroom wall, but instead it caught a corner of the jacuzzi wall.
Yep. And it can be hard sometimes with those Selma charges. You can throw them freely. No indicator like the X-Kairos from Hibana or the Exothermic charge from Thermite. But they're also very quick, which is the benefit. You're not going to be stuck in motion or stuck in a bad position by tossing them on out. Minute and 20 on the clock. BDS have not found an opening yet. Leaky Fact still searching from downstairs. One grenade in pocket of Shaco as well could be vital here. If that grenade can find a kill, that could be the way forward.
There goes the Gemini to scout out for information. Final minute of the round. No clear off-site. I don't know if he'll see both members of W7M that are playing over towards Cash, but Alemj is the casualty for BDS. Leaky Fac up the main stairs. Not too far removed from some of these players from BDS, but he's taken to pasture by Herds as well. Shaiko in looking for a pick. BDS in rough shape. KZ first one to die, but they're traded out. W7M only need to find Shaiko. He's won a 1v4 before, and he's primed to do it again. He's picked off two, and he's got 30 seconds to find Volps and Herds. He's already softened up Herds, but Volps is ready for it. It's Herds, actually, to get the kill instead. They were both there. A late rotate from W7M. Shaiko walks into weight room, and they are denying BDS that sixth and fateful round. 4 rounds for W7M, still trailing, but in good position to come back.
So close yet so far. I mean, as a fan of Rainbow Six Siege, you can look and go, oh, you know, if the team is up 5-0, they've basically already won. But that's the wrong way to look at it. You gotta look at every single round in a vacuum. Because every round is different, and you always start from 0 again. Sure, right now BDS, they are 1 round away from guaranteeing overtime at minimum, which then confirms them for playoffs. But every single round can play out for a win or a loss. Doesn't matter how close they are. If they don't get another victory, they're not gonna get there. W7M, they're allowing them to get close, but they have not allowed them to verify their spot just yet. BDS have to fight for it, and right now they're going quite slow on their initial attacks. I really like this Leaky Fact Jackal attacker repick. Start speeding things up, get guaranteed information, especially against those mute jammers. Mossy was played previously as well, isn't this time around. Get aggressive. Shaiko in that 1 vs 4 just jumps in the window, gets 2 kills, 1v2. But Shaiko needs to do that before it being in a 1 vs 4. Do it in the middle of the round, the beginning of the round. The end of the round is too late. Things have fallen apart. It's a fine balance between striking too soon at a disadvantage and striking too late when the round is statistically over. We saw Shaiko fall 1 round before the breach got opened up. We saw Shaiko strike when every single member was in the grave from his team. Small things. Jacuzzi wall opened up with that can opener, CCTV by an exothermic charge, both sides of top floor being applied pressure towards. Now it's Leaky Fact, Shaiko, and Alemj's turn to clear this out. Renchi on the Thatcher, required to stay alive. Brede on the exothermic charge of Thermite, very important for later in the round for that last bit of destruction. The young gunners have to wake up and seize this opportunity, because KC and Red W7M, they're staying around. They're not falling back just yet. They're gonna challenge and get the kill into Alemj. It's a huge kill for them.
Nicely done with a minute off, and now it's Leaky Fact to get the feet of Legion. KZ will retreat into Strip Club. Some exquisite pole dancing to be had to get out of that spot. But he's got the castle of Julio getting ever closer just to be able to go in for support. While we have a brief moment, another spoiler inbound, cover your ears. With Fury winning the round, because of the way that the round differential works, even if Space Station win, there is a possibility that BDS lose, SSG win, and SSG still don't make it, BDS still gets the spot. We are fast approaching that. Fury just took their 3rd round.
Yeah.
And there it is. Unfortunately, because BDS has 5 rounds, SSG have allowed Fury to pick up their 4th round. That means that no matter what, BDS are the team that will get the playoff spot. Space Station will not make it.
But BDS doesn't know this yet. The coach can't talk to their players. The players can't check their phones. They don't even have phones when they play. They're still fighting for this. Unless a tactical timeout comes out, they'll have no idea.
Exactly. They are playing assuming the worst. They've lost at Lems. KZ is down from W7M. Bride encroaching over towards blue. Could have been a team kill there as Shaiko goes for the drop. His coordination will need to be impressive as Herds with a kill by the bomb chassis. Another. All of a sudden, W7M are cleaning house. Bride wants to do something about it, but he only gets a single kill. That's it. W7M have tied the game at 5 rounds apiece. But the bigger story, win, lose, or not draw, BDS are the last team to qualify for the playoffs. And also, both Cyclops and Sonics have now qualified for the Six Invitational based on points. That means that it should be all 16 teams for SI locked in. The only remaining spots will come through the qualifiers. Each region will be able to send 1 more team to the Six Invitational in February, come next year.
I would love to listen in to this tactical timeout because I am curious if the coach, by seeing another team, like players walk out or whatever the case might be, he might know the result of the match. And I'm very curious if he is feeding that information right now and saying, guys, boys, listen, we made it. This doesn't matter anymore. Or if this is going to be, guys, 1 more round. Even if W7M, they get 6 rounds, if we just tie 6-6 and goes OT, we make it to playoffs. We still got this in our hands. It can go both ways, this conversation, because there is a chance the coach knows. There's also a chance he doesn't. We do not know for a fact whether that is true or not. So CCTV, the game is on. Both teams have now gone through their tactical timeouts. W7M took it back in round number 4. BDS, as you saw, they just had it themselves when they tied things up on their side. Last time on CCTV, it came down to a bit of a too early aggression on the construction side of things from BDS. They got the right wall opened up on the CCTV side, and it didn't quite get the wall open in construction. Well, they did, but it was too little too late. Look at the attacker repicks. That's going to define how they attack this round. From Flores to Maverick, from Twitch to Sledge. We want utility and a guaranteed way through this wall. The Maverick or the Thatcher are your go-to operators with the breach. The Maverick can guarantee to open up the wall, but it takes longer. Whereas with the Thatcher, you do risk running into a Bandit trick or a Kaid trick if you misplay the timings of the breach and the EMP. It's a safe choice for BDS, but it's a slower choice at that.
The worst case scenario for Space Station fans would be W7M winning 7-5, but because Furies won 4 rounds against SSG, SSG wins, BDS loses, and yet still BDS is qualified.
Oh boy.
I will say, though, there's less predictability, or less unpredictability now because of the results.
Yeah.
We know the SI teams, we know the 8 teams that will be competing in the playoffs. You've got the 4 LATAM teams. From North America, you have Sonics and you have TSM, and from Europe, you have Wolves and BDS. If you need to know what the 4 LATAM teams are, by the way, FaZe Clan, Team Liquid, Black Dragons, and W7M. One of those teams will become a major champion. TSM have already won a major. They won the Six Invitational. FaZe Clan has won a major as well. They won on Swedish soil. Javla this time last year. So 2 of those 8 teams competing have actually won in Sweden before. That's a nice little fun fact for you. By the way, Shaiko, the first to die again, not having the best day. struggled in the matchup earlier today against Fury, and now having some difficulties. Oh, I can't believe that grenade did not kill KZ.
That's the nade nerf for you. Small change with massive an impact. You're attacking CCTV Catwalk with a Maverick Jaeger on the board. It's very difficult to do so. JV, they're holding on. KZ falls, 4v4, minute on the clock. 1 member last in this Catwalk Rafters position. That's so vital for the defenders.
You can hear the ADSs go. The magnets also working. JV totally blind, but enduring. As a storm right now is building up in the garage, and it could sweep JV and the rest of W7M out. But the longer that he persists on that catwalk, the longer that he sticks around, the more time that BDS loses and won't have for that execute. Because it's almost impossible for you to get through that main breach and get a diffuser planted inside of CCTV with the catwalk still being controlled by your opponents. Alem's on the top of, or on Alem's in construction, staring towards the top of red. They know that the smoke is there, but they're stalled out. BDS having some difficulties. Brede down for the count. Volps will fall as well. Number still very much in the favor of W7M. They've got 3 rounds in a row, and now the Brazilian team, the undefeated Brazilian team, moves to match point.
And they won it. I mean, you can see it in the player cams. Coach is celebrating between every single round victory. W7M, they're holding on strong and firing up. They're fighting tooth and nail every single chance they get. What might be the final round is going to go to the gym bedroom defense. No mirror on the board, no castle, just that Frost operator. The bandit actually being shown here. Hertz could trick out of Jacuzzi wall or go to CCTV and try and go for a trick. BDS, they got the walls opened up. They tried to go for that catwalk attack last round, and the checklist for some teams is if the enemy plays both the Jaeger and the Wamai, or they play one of them plus Asami, normally we see them go for a master bedroom construction attack because it's too difficult to attack the catwalk rafters with those operators in play. Now there's 2 things. Either BDS didn't know the exact lineup, which is very possible, until it was too late, or they said, screw it, let's force the garage. We got 4 grenades, we have the right tools for it, but then 2 things happened. Shaiko died early, that's half your grenade utility. Secondly, you got Wamai Jaeger, so their flashbangs aren't gonna flash much, and your nades aren't gonna hit their marks, and you also have lost your man advantage. So they tried to brute force it and they were unsuccessful. It's an extension to CCTV as we see. Rotate top red, no shield in sight, but a Wamai magnet will be there. It's a soft hold for W7M, likely going to be falling back earlier rather than later. I do like the finger here for chip damage. Boost yourself up against the opponents of W7M that are so formidable in their gunfights. And BDS, I mean, almost every single round, they're taking a bunch of damage throughout these rounds. Same with W7M, those grenades, they never quite find a kill, but they always do about 90% of the enemy's health and damage.
Doxing a resurgence after the changes to his kit. Rook as well has actually seen some play at this event, which is quite abnormal. Thunderbird has been largely absent. She's been replaced by Doc in most circumstances. I think it's a grenade that went in that took most of KZ's health away. This is a gym defense. Yet most of the action happening around Cash. Shaiko starting to warm up right when it matters the most. And it's the BDS lineup by that gaping doorway, or gaping entranceway rather, that's been created. There's a down as well onto Shaiko. Brede was not too far off. The adrenal surge will pick him right back up to his feet and give a nice top up to everybody else on the team. All the while, W7M sustaining some injuries.
Hertz going for a flank.
No way for them to get back to the top.
Bomb located by attackers.
And blue stairs, Herds is in this very critical position. I love the sound of the suppressed spear, by the way.
I too do love that. Hertz is flanking with 6 drones on the board remaining, and we just saw BDS. Oh, the timing. I think he snuck past it. They don't know. They have no clue.
Herds is still there.
He can't find anybody. Oh, here's one. Trigger discipline.
Excellent play by Herds. Traded right back, but a team kill. No, no, no. The adrenal surge goes off, but the Finka is dead. BDS with 40 seconds left. That's it. This could be the match for W7M. Volps and Julio. Julio again having a very quiet game. Nothing flashy, but providing that rock for W7M that they desperately needed. That's why he was brought onto the roster in the first place. Outside, looking for something. Alems is down. Bride has clutched so many times. Can he pull it off again?
15 seconds left.
His entry, greeted by a Banshee. They know he's in there. He doesn't have a lot of time to work with this. To the double doorway, the crossfire from W7M shouldn't be able to lose, but it does. Bride wins onto Julio, but he has 1 second left to find the last player, and the clock will give it to the Brazilians. Undefeated W7M will emerge from the group stage with a perfect 6-0 record. The best team from the group stage. They topple BDS, but for the French squad, it doesn't matter because they've secured their spot in the playoffs on Friday. Congratulations to the undefeated W7M. But BDS
They just found out.
just found out that they made it.
Oh, they thought they were going home. They had no idea. Alems' face when he got told.
The elation sweeping through. Renshiro knew first.
Oh, they thought they were going home. I can't believe it. I mean, we had the discussion about whether the coach told them during that timeout or not, but no, they're playing for real. What you saw was genuine heartbreak from BDS. What a relief it must have been getting told, guys, don't worry, you made it. Oh, that's phenomenal. I mean, that's it. W7M undefeated in the groups. They proved a very big point that they were going to this tournament as a team to be reckoned with. And they're going to go into playoffs with confidence, that's for sure. Last time, they were beaten out by another LATAM team who knows them so well. And I think if W7M can go through playoffs after facing a LATAM team, they might go the entire way. The thing is, there's 4 of them. Probably not going to happen.
Oh my. On the other stream, by the way, spoilers inbound, Space Station did win. So Space Station won, but because Fury won enough rounds, SSG's round differential is not good enough. They do not make it. And that is heartbreaking to think that 1, 2, maybe even 3 rounds over the entirety of this group stage.
Yeah.
That's what ultimately decided your fate. Look at the W7M match earlier today.
Yeah.
They got absolutely skunked by W7M. 1 or 2 more rounds in that game, even with the same loss, and it's SSG competing, not BDS.
That is wild. It's why every single round matters so much when you say, whether you win 7-4 or 7-5 doesn't really matter. And normally it doesn't. But in cases like these, every single round matters.
No break for you. We're just going to go into the post-match analysis because this is our last match of the day. We know that you want to get out of here and into the group drawing for the playoffs. I know that I want to go through it as well. SSG competed the last time we went to DreamHack Winter, all the way back in 2018, and they made a deep run where they were only a couple rounds away from making it to the Six Invitational. Because back then, if people remember, the minors that we had at the DreamHack events guaranteed you a spot at the next event, whether it was the Paris Major, whether it was SI, etc.
Yeah.
Space Station ultimately lost to, I believe it was Mocket at the time? Or no, it was Penta. It was the old Penta roster that you actually beat.
Oh, the French version.
You beat the Panics-led Penta that Jesco was the coach of at the time.
Yeah.
But because they beat Space Station, it was Penta who got the spot to go to SI. And SSG came so close, yet ultimately failed. And yet again, a similar thing has happened. Space Station came so close, but ultimately fell a little bit short. So we know the 8 teams that are going to be competing on Friday. BDS in that matchup, despite losing, they make it. And you might be wondering what the groups look like. So let's show you, just in case you haven't been paying attention. Earlier today, Sonics were the first team to clinch their spot out of Group A. Black Dragons were right behind them. Because of the round differential and the way that the matchups went, Cyclops came so close, yet ultimately not close enough, and they did not make the cut. Black Dragons and Sonics will represent Group A on Friday.
M&M didn't really get any points outside of day number 1, so they're at the bottom of that group. And in the next group, we got Team Liquid, of course, also having a fantastic group stage, only losing their final match against TSM, but still getting 15 points is very impressive, plus 15 round diff as well. TSM and Heroic, they're fighting for that second spot, but ultimately, because TSM beat Liquid or went to overtime with them, Heroic, they got sent home.
Sandbox having a very bad performance. All of APAC having a tough go of it. The only one that we really did see succeed in any manner was Cyclops. Over in Group C, W7M and Team BDS just played, and you watched W7M become the only undefeated team by the time the groups ended. Every single point available they got. And if you look at BDS and Space Station, this is what we were talking about.
2 rounds.
2 rounds being the difference here. If Space Station, who at one point were up, what was it, 5-2, 6-2 over Fury, if they had prevailed 7-2, it would be Space Station going into the playoffs and not BDS. Fury, yet another disappointing performance for APAC. The Thai team just not able to get it done. And Group D, the disappointing result in this one was for Mirage.
Yes.
They picked up a victory, but this was also their first LAN event coming out of North America. It was Fury's first LAN event too, so I mean, you have to cut these teams some slack as they find their way through a major event, but it's Wolves and FaZe Clan who will be playing on Friday as they topped Group G.
Very, very close group here. 13 points for Wolves, 12 for FaZe Clan, 10 round diff for Wolves, 12 for FaZe. So it really could have been either team there getting first and second seed, but it's Wolves on top for that group and FaZe the second to go.
Some of the best teams in the world will be assembling in just a couple days. They get Thursday off to rest, maybe scrim, prepare, maybe go to the sauna, the spa, whatever they want to do in their time off. It's their time, of course. But I'm sure you want to know who's going to play who. Well, the good news is that we have the group draws that will involve balls and paper. And everybody loves balls and everybody loves paper.
Sure.
And we don't want to keep you from the suspense that will happen. It's going to be going on the A stream, which is twitch.tv/rainbow6. We would very strongly encourage you to move on over there because this stream is over. Thank you so much for watching the group stages. It has been a phenomenal 3 days.
Yeah.
That's been marked by some wild upsets. There's been some absolutely stunning performances. There's been heartbreak along the way.
Few disappointments.
Some few disappointments. No real Cinderella story.
No,
We
actually.
were missing a Cinderella story. But that's okay. Not everybody can be Cinderella. Sometimes that clock does indeed strike midnight. That's it for Pengu and I, and that's it for the group stages. We'll be back for the playoffs on Friday, but do go over to twitch.tv/rainbow6 to see which teams will meet in the playoffs as we have our group draw. Have a great night, great day, great morning, depending on where you are, and we'll see you in a couple days for the playoffs here at the Jönköping Major.